share with you several best practices, key decisions, and business-enhancing strategies that have turned my clients and hundreds of other budding and thriving entrepreneurs into high-performing and highly profitable business owners. Once we're done, you have a roadmap and a path forward to achieving the level of success you want in your business. So what I would like everyone to do right now is really quickly type in the chat, what is your industry of focus right now? All right, so really quickly, so who is Eller Thomas? So for over 20 years, I've had the opportunity to consult with over 250 small businesses. I know that sounds like a lot, but it doesn't seem like a lot when you're having fun, right? And organizations were creating strategies that exponentially boosted revenues, improved operational efficiency, and significantly increased market share. Besides running my own businesses, writing books, and enjoying time with my family, because I am a dedicated and engaged family man, I love helping budding and thriving entrepreneurs with reaching their own definition of operational success. And I believe you're here today because you would like to take your business to the next level. Myself and the panel that is going to be speaking with you today is here to help you do that. All right, so a question that I've always asked all entrepreneurs is this question. Why did you become an entrepreneur? I ask this question because your why will single-handedly help you overcome the inevitable obstacles that are going to be in your way when you're looking to achieve the success you're looking for. When you had that vision, when you had that dream, when you had that idea, what drove you to saying, you know what, I am going to run with it and I'm going to make it happen? So some of the obstacles we've had to face, and maybe you are right now, are experienced layoffs. I remember I got laid off 3 different times, and I said, the heck with corporate America. If I'm going to strike out, it's going to be on my own, and it's going to be because of someone else and not because of the organization I'm working for. Many of us felt undervalued and underpaid. How many of you who have worked in organizations feel like you are not getting paid the amount of money that you know you should be making, regardless of what your degree level is or what your experience level is? Some of us felt that our skills were being underutilized. There's nothing like the monotony of going to work and doing the exact same thing, knowing that you can do more and you are called to do more. And many of us simply want to contribute to society, had dreams of owning our own business. We want to leave behind a legacy. I know my son, Eller Thomas II, he may not follow my footsteps, but at least he knows that he can shift and walk into what I've helped build for him. And sadly, and what the pandemic has done to a lot of us, we have no other means of income. So our feet are to the road and we actually have to do something. So I'm going to ask you again, what's your why? And why did you become an entrepreneur? I really want you to think about this, because as we talk about the next slides in the future, we're going to come back to your why, okay? So looking at some of the stresses that are facing today's entrepreneurs, myself, when I had the opportunity to work with some phenomenal small business owners, when they were thriving and when they were budding, I realized something, that all 250 of them plus have common denominators as to why they were not achieving the level of organizational, professional, and departmental success they were looking for. Some simply didn't have a direction, meaning they didn't have a mission statement that kept them grounded. Some lacked strategic growth initiatives. They didn't have a full-fledged marketing and sales plan. I think you guys may or may not fall in that category. Some just figure out, you know what, I'm just burnt out. I have done everything and wear so many hats that I am at the point where I just want to give up. And as of recently, as we know what happened in 2020, early in 2020, economic shifts, the pandemic has changed the way that business is done for everyone, including myself, which caused us to be more creative in how we're going to keep our businesses running. Personal challenges are inevitable. I recently experienced a few years ago the passing of my mother, and that nearly took the winds out of my sail from prevailing. And I told myself, what again is my why? balancing operational demands. As your business owner, you know there are so many demands on your time, so many things that you focus on, so many fires that you have put out that when it's time for you to actually make money, oftentimes you're exhausted just before it even happens. And lastly, what we're going to touch on in this entire conference is lack of capital, or gaining access to the capital you need to achieve your next level. So really quickly, if you don't mind, this is going to be very interactive because I love being interactive. Type in the chat, if you don't mind, what is a couple of stressors or obstacles you're facing right now as an entrepreneur? And I'd be more than happy to look at those when we're done. All right, so earlier today, I talked about the topic of today's presentation, igniting faith, how successful entrepreneurs overcome adversity and grow their businesses. A lot of times when people hear the word faith, they think it's have a spiritual component. Now I'm going, as a man of faith, yes, it does have a spiritual component, but not for this particular presentation. So what am I talking about? Let's look at the collegiate definition of ignite first, and then we'll look at the collegiate definition of faith. Ignite, catch fire or cause to catch fire. Faith, complete trust or confidence in someone or something. If you're going to achieve the level of success that you're looking for your business, you have to ask yourself, do I have complete trust or confidence in my mission, my ability, my team, my strategy, my offerings? And if you do have faith, is it on fire? Because you're going to have to get to a point where, regardless of what I'm going to face, my complete trust in my mission, ability, team strategy, and offer is so strong that nothing's going to derail me from achieving what I'm ultimately going after. My ideal outcome oftentimes is predicated on the level of faith I have in these particular entities and individuals. So some of us lack faith, sadly to say, but it's okay, because faith, like anything else, is a muscle. So I'm going to teach you how to build the faith that's necessary to move through economic shifts, to move through challenges that you're going to face both personally and professionally and organizationally. And the way we do that is by instituting courage as our foundation principle for moving forward. So let's define courage really quick as Merriam-Webster defines it. Mental or moral strength to venture, persevere, and withstand danger, fear, and difficulty. Every person on this call already have a high level of courage because you've chosen to be an entrepreneur. Whether you're struggling, whether you're thriving, whether you're budding, it doesn't matter. The fact that you made a decision to become an entrepreneur shows and reveals that you already have the courage. We just need to tap into that next dimension of that courage you have. So how do I define courage? For me, it is 7 steps to building the faith and momentum to achieving ideal business outcomes. I like to repeat that. Courage is 7 steps to building the faith and momentum to achieving ideal business outcomes. The caption to the right says, to be a success in business, be daring, be first, be different. Well, you're already daring. You're already different. So now we just need to hold on to those other attributes. So since I said it's a 7-step process, let's take a look at the first step. First step of courage is choose to be successful. No entrepreneur, no business owner, no CEO that I know has ever set out to start a business to fail, right? No one has. However, there are some key decisions that need to be made to ensure that you're going to be successful. Some of those are, A, creating strategies for your ideal outcomes. If you have an idea to increase market share or to increase sales, lead generation, what does your strategy look like? B, create creative partnerships. Some of you are networking individuals, which is fantastic, but ask yourself, is this a creative partnership where in the event that I do not offer a service or a product, can I leverage their expertise and on the back end of that, get a percentage from a referral? Those are the type of creative partnerships we're talking about. C, create mission statement alignments. When I did a deep dive in a lot of the clients I worked with, I realized none of them had a mission statement, and it would kind of boggle my mind because your mission statement is there to help give you direction and to keep you on point when you are going to be distracted by personal and professional challenges, right? Or if there's going to be something that comes up unexpectedly. Your mission is the gravitational pull that's required for you to stay focused. D, minimize or mitigate personal distractions. I don't know about you, but also being a father of a 7-year-old, it's hard to mitigate or minimize my personal distractions. However, I was creative enough to know that per my planning, to ensure that I divide my time up in such a way that my son is not missing out, that people I need in my business is not missing out on my time, and that I'm still ultimately going to be successful. Now, we do have people in our lives that like talking on the phone or talk to us about the shows that they watched the night before. We have to ask ourselves this question. Is engaging this conversation advancing me or hindering me from what I ultimately want to achieve? I'm not saying cut off everyone cold turkey, but just manage your time or leverage your time to the point where you are getting the manifestation of the business ideal that you want, okay? Next, choose to exhibit the habits of your successful self. When you look at yourself in the eyes of how you define success, what is that person doing? What are the activities? What is he or she reading? What conversations are we having? What networking events are we at? I have seen so many individuals who do not have the confidence to build their business. So you already have to act as if you're already that top-notch CEO or business owner. And lastly, a lot of us who are under financial constraints have to decide, am I going to be a penny pincher or am I going to be a dollar maker, right? And there's an inherited and calculated risk with being a dollar maker because you're going to have to make some decisions that are going to be required to grow your business. Some's going to require investments of your time. Some's going to be an investment of financial resources. Either way, you should be dollar making focused and not penny pincher centric. So the caption says, whenever you see a successful business, someone once made a courageous decision. So keep that in mind. All right, step 2, overcome setbacks. As an entrepreneur, and I smile because I think about my own road to where I am right now. There are pitfalls, there are distractions, there are challenges, there are some inevitable things that take place that we cannot plan for. But the question is this: when things do not go according to the plan that you put forth or the way that you saw things, what will you do when things do not work out as planned? This is a very serious question because you have to ask yourself, am I going to quit and give up on my dream, give up on my business, give up on whatever my why was, or am I going to find a way to proceed? And I think every person on this call is choosing to proceed. If you weren't, you would not be here, right? One of my favorite speakers, Les Brown, says, anytime you suffer a setback or disappointments, put your head down and plow ahead. And I think that's what we're doing right now. We're plowing ahead. And I add, setbacks are catalysts to your business's greatest setups for success. All right. So we had step 1, step 2. Now let's look at step 3. This is very important for all of my purpose-driven entrepreneurs who are struggling because their business outcomes are not meeting what they feel internally. So step 3 is unify your heart, your mind, and your objective. If these 3 are not aligned, if your objective is not aligned with your mind and your heart, achieving your ideal results is going to be very, very difficult, right? So questions you should ask yourself are these. Is my business my purpose? If it is not, why am I in business? Next question. Am I solution-centric, meaning that I'm looking for problems to solve to grow my business? Am I out helping people? Or I'm simply just driven by profits only? An individual who's driven by profits only will oftentimes create unhealthy habits as well as destroy a lot of relationships that he or she are building. Next question. What level of impact is my business making on society, on my life, personally and professionally? Is it helping me grow? Or is it just keeping me bound and I'm just afraid to move on from it? Next question. Will this be my legacy? Am I building this just to sell it? Or am I building this because I'm the first person in my family that has done this And I want this to be a pillar for generations to come, or at least the next generation. Caption to the right says, following your heart alone is a business strategy. And I tend to agree. All right, step number 4, reject doubt. Has anyone ever doubted himself or herself in business and anything you did? If you have, please type in the chat yes or no. If you never doubted, kudos to you. I commend you. I salute you. But for me, I've had to face a number of doubts, right? I've faced so many doubts to the point where I'm like, maybe I'm not designed, or maybe I'm not called to do the business that I'm actually starting, because it seems like every time I take a step forward, I'm getting knocked 2 steps back. And then maybe because I haven't had the level of success so far that I just go insane. So I want you to know this. Doubt is designed to test your belief in yourself and what you're doing. There's a caption that says, doubt kills more dreams than failure ever will, because doubt oftentimes will hinder or impede a person from ever starting. Now, since you started, you have to make sure that you achieve your goals. You have to move forward. You have to make sure that what you're doing right now is going to contribute to the goals and desires that you have. And keep in mind, shifts happen. Yes, I said shifts, not the flagrant word, but shifts. Develop a strong mindset to help you reject doubt. This means reading books that are going to inspire and empower. This means getting around individuals who are already where you want to be and gleaming from him or her. Also, turn problems into power. We look at the pandemic this year, and believe it or not, even though a lot of businesses were going out of business, a lot of businesses were thriving. The reason being is because those entrepreneurs quickly identified opportunities in those problems and then turned them into power. So they actually have grown exponentially where other people are going out of business. So to keep that in mind. And again, to help reject doubt, remember your why, as we talked about in the beginning. Step 5, automate processes. From the hundreds of business owners I've spoken to, I didn't realize that automating processes has never been a thought process to them. They find that traditional practices, or being the archaic methods of doing business, the check and balance and spreadsheets, etc., that's their responsibility. And I want to challenge you if you're in that place. Every area of your business requires your attention, but some can be automated. I give you a few examples of some automated processes. And I speak to this because due to my ability to help my clients automate their processes, they experience 35 to 42% growth in their companies. So this is very key if you're an entrepreneur like you are. You can automate your lead generation and marketing systems. You can leverage autoresponders, which are designed to do automatic follow-up once you set it up correctly. As a person who loves sales, I realized I hated prospecting. So I've learned that after I learned how to generate leads, that I outsourced all prospecting, and only those who qualified to meet with me got my attention. And then also leverage digital contracts. So many faxes have been lost in, when we're trying to get contracts signed, et cetera, et cetera. It is who of us to make sure that we are leveraging technology to make our lives easier and to make sure that ultimately we get our money, right? So the benefits of automating your processes. If you have more time to focus on sales processes, then you have more time to make money. Would everyone agree? Then if you are also automating processes, you can increase operational efficiency. And along with operational efficiency, you increase your business overall attractiveness. People are going to want to come to you. They realize that you know how to properly leverage your time, as well as set aside time for them who really need your time to help them. And also, it increases scalability. I was asked the other day, Eller, how do I scale my business? And when I looked at this particular person's company, he was not set up to scale. His infrastructure said everything was not going to be able to scale. So interestingly, we created some automated processes, and I'm looking to hear back from him within the next 3 weeks. Success Magazine says inefficient workflows and processes account for 58% of implicit costs. Think about that for a moment. If you were able to take out 58% of the implicit costs, the time, the money that are driven to archaic practices, what would you do with those savings? Would you invest it in your company, create some creative partnerships, enhance a product or a service? Regardless of that, regardless what your answer is to that, just know that 58% of implicit costs are attributed to inefficient workflows and processes. Step 6, go all in. If you have gone all in your business, can somebody please say all in the chat? Please type in all in. There was a song that I loved when I was growing up. It was called Ain't No Half Stepping. And I know that's kind of a colloquial term, but that song said so much, meaning if I made a decision to start a business, I am going to go all in. I'm not going to doubt myself. No matter what people say, whether I get support or no support, I'm going to go all in. And the way you go all in is you challenge every excuse that you have or that comes to your mind about quitting. That sometimes can be from individuals who mean well, but they haven't had the gall nor the audacity to start their own business. So why they're trying to cancel you, right? Also, going all in means make the investment that is required. I sat with several individuals, consulted with them for 2 hours, and at the end of the day, they realized that I do need this service, Eller. I do know that I need XYZ, but they never pulled the trigger because they were a penny pincher and not a dollar maker. So I advise if you're looking forward to changing the outcome of your business, then you're going to have to change the outcome of the way you think. Also, going all in means think beyond your now. One of the strategic initiatives that I love is helping businesses with their operational continuity. Meaning, if something was to happen to them, their business will continue on with or without them. And that is so much fun. A lot of work, but it's fun to do because a person who's a CEO, an entrepreneur, small business owner can sit back and say, I am confident that whatever happens to me, my kids won't be impacted, my employees won't be impacted, my team members won't be impacted because I have a business continuity plan in place. As of recently, a lot of my clients did this one thing. They added a passive income stream to their business. The pandemic required us to think creatively about how we're going to generate income for our businesses. Would you agree? Some of those decisions were, okay, create alignments, create some creative partnerships, but some of them just totally shifted and said, you know what, I can make more money being a referral service or adding a referral service component to my business than I could with oftentimes my products, which is pretty fascinating to see. So going all in, no excuses, no worries, no regrets, no fears. Now, excuses, worries, regrets, and fears are going to come to you, but it's your job as a CEO, entrepreneur, solopreneur, whatever preneur that you put on you, that you're going to go all in. The 7th step and the final step, empower yourself daily. It is so important that you're feeding your mind and your spirit the right type of food. We have so much negativity going around in the world right now that oftentimes it is very hard to empower yourself, especially when you turn on the news, you listen to the radio. There's so many distractions taking place, and it is, I call them energy vampires. It's just sucking out the energy, sucking out your creativity, sucking out your motivation. So since we know that negativity surrounds us, what are we going to do to empower ourselves on a daily basis? For myself and my clients, we meditate at least 10 to 15 minutes in the morning. We do something called Power Hour, where we add this into our reading plans. Also, do some mirror talk. When you look in the mirror, whether you're brushing your teeth, waking up, shower, what that looks like, you have to tell yourself that you are the very best at what you do, regardless of what the numbers say, regardless of what people say, and regardless of what the bottom line says as of right now. You have to make sure that you have complete utmost faith that you are the person who can start this business and bring it to fruition. And again, I told you we're going to talk about your whys a lot throughout this presentation, right? Remember why you're in business. Tell yourself on a daily basis, I'm in business because. Write it in a journal. Also, focus on your end goal. When you look at your business right now, may I ask you a question? And it's rhetorical, so you don't need to write it in the chat. What is the end goal of your business? When you started it, what did you envision? I challenge you that you do not stop until whatever that vision was becomes a reality in your operations. And lastly, to help empower yourself, enjoy building something phenomenal. Your business is phenomenal. You are phenomenal. What you're about to do in the community is phenomenal. Remember that anytime that you feel like you're a little disempowered or unmotivated, you're doing something phenomenal, and don't let anyone shift your thinking about your business or what you think about yourself. So that was the 7 steps of courage to help you ignite your faith. Now I have a few questions really quickly, and I just want you to think about them. Are you ready to be the next dimensional entrepreneur? Yes or no? Just think about it. You don't have to put it in chat. Are you ready to find ways to dominate your competition? You know you are excellent in what you do, and no one can match what you do. So competition should be nothing to you. And if it is, we'll find a way to make sure you're dominating your industry. Question number 3. Are you ready to become unstoppable despite uncertainty and economic shifts? If you said yes to all of these, you are in alignment to do something a lot of people are not going to be able to do in this particular time period. You're going to excel, you're going to achieve, and you're going to blow the doors off the pandemic situation.